What's going on, everyone? In this video, I turned my end dimension from this to, well, this. Pretty much nothing. I've got big plans for this end dimension, so the first step was getting rid of the island itself. And before I start, I want to say thank you to everyone that views these videos and comments and subscribes. I love every single one of you, and join the Discord. Let's get into it. Now, the first step to this process was making sure that I got all the proper items and advancements before I started breaking the pillars. The pillars themselves take around 20 to 22 hours total to destroy, and that's not even counting the time it takes me to repair my stuff, so I really didn't want to have to do it multiple times by respawning the dragon. Beacons would definitely help, giving me haste too, and would make breaking the pillars a lot quicker. So I took a couple heads from the wither skeleton farm and I trapped the withers under the end portal. And this time I made sure I didn't mess it up like I did in the last episode. Next, I needed to respawn and kill the ender dragon for the end, again, advancement. I just needed some tears. Some blaze rods,
bye, have a great time.
grab some pearls, as well as throw a multi-shot enchantment on my bow while I'm here, and then kill the ender dragon real quick. Yeah, that's pretty easy to do with an elytra. There's the advancement complete, and we'll finish these up in the future, don't worry. Now that the preparation is done, I threw a beacon down and got to work on the pillars. Starting off with pillar 1. And ending with the 10th pillar. Now I just needed to break down these beacons and move the obsidian back to the overworld. To break the End Island, we are going to have to implement a little machine that I like to call the End Destroyer 9000. It's really just a flying machine designed by Shulkercraft that essentially makes destroying the end quite satisfying actually. First, I had to mark out the perimeter for the machines, so I grabbed some lime green wool and made a 264 by 264 block perimeter, which is about 16 by 16 chunks, and it would cover the entire island. Next, I had to destroy all the bedrock above the island so that the machines wouldn't get blocked. And now it was time to gather the resources to build the machines themselves. Once the resource gathering was done, I could start on the machines. I decided to have 2 total, and I put one close to the edge and the other one in the middle. Now it was time to run these things and AFK them overnight. And after a few hours, I think this Enderman wanted to overtake the machine or something. He looked pretty mad. And now everything is empty. I just need to break the remaining pieces. The machines. And boom, the end is empty. I could have ended the video there, but I also knew I was going to eventually need a mob switch for when I create pretty much anything inside the end. And building a proper mob switch in the end is pretty much impossible due to there being no constant loaded chunks. So I brought in a mod that would allow me to place a clone near a mob switch to keep it loaded. But I still needed a mob switch that required around 140 villagers. So my first course of action was to make an upgraded villager breeder at Farmville. So I got my things together and decided to build it next to the iron farm. I loaded up with fireworks while I was there, and then I started building. Then I lured the villagers in. Built a holding box in the end. And started transporting them through the nether. At At this point, I had transported like 2 villagers and decided that this was going to take me literal weeks to do. It was just taking me so long to get them through each portal and back onto a minecart, and I was starting to get pretty annoyed. So I scratched the entire idea and I traveled back to the end portal and I dug a hole to the surface and started on a completely new villager breeder there. In doing this, I accidentally did mess up the sand duper. I came up with this design which looked pretty funny, to be honest, but it allowed me to give them a Fletcher job, trade with them, and then send them to the end. Once I had about 70 villagers, I converted them all to zombie villagers, and this was when I realized since I technically had 2 players in the game, I had to double the amount of mobs, so I had to get back at it. And as you can see, there is nothing spawning in the end now. The Enderman farm doesn't even work. Well, that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you to everyone that has stuck through the video this long and continues to support me. I love all of you, and I've got some pretty big plans for this dimension, so stay tuned for the upcoming episodes, and I guess I'll see you guys later.